Rachel, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. To kick us off with your story, can you tell us who you are, where you are, and how you're involved in the wedding industry?
Of course. So I'm Rachel. I'm the CEO and founder, as I like to say, of Celebrate with Rachel Louise, which is a wedding planning company specializing all things nerd, is my quick
Oh,
elevator pitch.
now hold on, because normally I skip on to my next question, but hold on a minute. Because this is, and I love people who get really into their corner in their niche, in that this is who I love
Yeah.
to work with. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the kind of people you work with and where this has all come from?
Yeah, so I'm pretty new in the industry, so I've only kind of had a couple of my ideal clients so far. And they're people that I was friends with before because I'm a massive nerd, so I attract massive nerds. So we've done things like one of them, it was a two groom wedding, and they wanted, one of them was obsessed with Lego, the other was obsessed with Transport for London. So we kind of did a bit of both. So like their seating plan looked like a tube map. The centerpieces were Lego flowers as opposed to real flowers, and had a different tube line as the different table names, for
Holy
example.
moly. I love this. Okay. So you're obviously super creative. How did you get into weddings, Rachel? Has this always been your lifelong dream? Have you been in weddings since you were 6 years old? Like, how has this come about?
I wish that it had been like that. So my background is retail and hospitality.
Mhm.
So I've been kitchen porter, waitress, barmaid, barista, customer service person, kind of in and out different roles since I was 14. Not many people realize this, but I am now 33 years old. So I have been in the industry quite a while.
You do have a baby face though, Rachel. You do, which is great, right? You're gonna love that when you're like 60, still look
Yeah,
30.
I'm hoping that I have my mother's genetics because she still looks like she's in her 30s and she's about to push 60. So like
Amazing. Go Rachel's mum.
like come on,
Okay, so
come
how
on.
did you get in? So how did the whole wedding thing come about for you?
So it's kind of, I mean, some of it was like an obvious path when I look back. Other parts is like, where did I get this from? So my brain kind of fires all over the place. I'm 99% sure that I have quite severe ADHD, and that's probably where a lot of my creativity and impulsivity kind of stuff comes from. So I've always been the like organizer or mother of my friendship group. So it's always me that's organized like the hen do's, the baby showers, the birthday get-togethers, the reunions. I helped my mum with her wedding in 2017. I was maid of honor, so kind of it was in the job title. But yeah, I've done kind of, I was also a social sec for my uni musical theatre group for 2 years in uni. I was a conductor in the glee club we had over there. Like I've always done something where I end up being some kind of leadery or teacher or guide. And I just love weddings. So obviously I'm of the age where quite a few of my friends have now been married. And I just love it. I love the vibe of the wedding day. Just like brainstorming with them in the journey process, I was like, oh, I'm coming up with these are things that I thought is a normal thing to think of. And they're like, oh, I hadn't considered that. And then I found your lovely self on Instagram and kind of started getting little inklings of what it would be like to actually go into the industry. Came to your soiree at St Pancras, absolutely loved it, met some amazing people and ended up doing a styled shoot from that. Um, yeah, so when I came to the soiree, I'd kind of just launched an Instagram like a month or two before, and I was like, I'm going to see if I can do this because if no one finds it, it doesn't matter. Um, and that was like two years ago. So
Okay,
yeah,
amazing. And I
sorry, that
didn't
was
know
quite.
that. I didn't know like the soiree was like one of those moments where you kind of then
Yeah,
move forward. Okay, so I see with a lot of wedding pros, and I think I'm hearing it with you too, like the creative element, you adore, it lights you
yeah.
up. That's the stuff that just, amazing. How did you get on then having to actually sell and market and create that business side? Because so many wedding pros really don't do that well on the other side of it. They're like, I can plan, I can create, I can make it gorgeous. The selling and marketing, how did that work for you? And was that ever challenging?
So I've I've been wanting to get into events and the marketing side of things for like the last decade. So when I matched with a boy who lived in London on Bumble 5 years ago nearly, um, and decided to move to London to live with him, it was like, oh, well, this is the ideal time to go into the marketing and events. I'm going to London, there's loads of options. I'm from a very small place in Wales. So I'm from Monmouth, but I was living in Abertillery at the time. So it was kind of like a Gavin Stacey type relationship initially. So yeah, I'd been wanting to get into events and marketing, and I'd done like the usual online courses and things like that, but events in general rather than weddings specifically. And then when I got to London, I managed to land myself a marketing executive job for an events company. So I was doing digital and like paper based marketing for at least 2 events per year to do with the packaging industry. And then I would help out at the other events at the show as well. So I kind of got into a bit of very small amount of graphic design, but massively into like the operations of running an exhibition and obviously the marketing with my day-to-day role. So I think that's where I've got a lot of my skills from. Like, I know I'm of the generation where we kind of half grew up with a normal childhood and half grew up with the tech childhood. So I know I'm probably a little bit more susceptible than some generations. When I see a platform, I'm like, oh, I can kind of gather where this is going to go, and I'll just do a YouTube tutorial just to like delve a bit deeper.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, that was a massive tangent. I've actually forgotten what your original question was.
So what were some of the challenges of setting up the actual
Oh
business,
yeah,
the sales and marketing of the wedding business itself?
that's where my head went. I wanted to tell
Okay.
you how I got into marketing. Sorry,
It's
that
all
was quite a
good.
long story.
It's
But yeah,
perfect.
so obviously I'd done the day-to-day marketing with that, and I thought, right, as I'm here doing marketing, I'm gonna steal as much knowledge from this company as I can.
That's not stealing,
And I
that's
was thinking,
learning. That's growing.
yeah, but I kind of saw it as like I'm going to steal as much as I can.
Oh,
The funness that is my brain. Um, yeah, so I was learning all the skills and kind of working out which platforms and tools I liked through that job, and then was kind of implementing them then in my business in the evenings and weekends. And then yeah, just doing loads of your training. And also I followed the training with Becca Poutney and also Bernadette Chapman as well. So kind of like picking the bits that I like from all three different communities, picking brains of the members of those communities. Yeah, just like a team effort.
so it's interesting that you've mentioned community there, because as I've been doing these life stories with our wedding pros from the next level, so many of them, when we've come to the community part, they've mentioned your name. Like, you are, and always in a positive way, I might just add a
I was going to say, wait,
so you obviously thrive in that community environment. You obviously thrive in, you know, being able to have people around you. Like, can you talk me through kind of if that's helped your business, or what, or you know, or how you get so involved in such a positive way with everyone?
So I think I just accidentally insert myself into places. I don't like I've just always been the kind of person where I get people asking me like how I network or how I go up to people at networking events or exhibitions. But I literally just go up to them and I'm like, hi, what are you guys talking about? And then I join in. I've always been kind of an extroverted person. During COVID, I did become a little bit more of the introverted side, but the extroverted side is still there. It just takes more energy out of me, and I have to then go into a bubble after. So the community side of things has been so helpful within my business. Obviously, it's a little bit tricky navigating the various ones because there's just so much going on in each one. But yeah, I've always wanted to give back to a community. That's another reason why I wanted to do weddings. So I've always wanted to do something that brings people joy, kind of return something positive into the community. So part of my business is I give profits to, there's 3 different charities that I'm currently supporting, and I do various fundraising activities throughout the year as well. So as well as like I'm creating these dream wedding days for my clients, I'm also then giving back to 3 charities that mean a lot to me. And by doing the weddings and having fun being creative doing that, I'm also then helping find cures for the 3 conditions.
And if there are wedding pros listening right now, and they might be in a similar situation to you where you know, they're doing their 9 to 5, but they had this dream of entering into the wedding, you know, they could be wanting to be a photographer or a florist or a planner. What little piece of advice would you give them as they're just thinking about kind of transitioning from the office out into the world
Yeah.
of the wedding industry?
So I have done that transition quite
I know,
recently.
that's why you're the perfect one.
So I probably would say learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, share
Um,
with them what they should be focused on and what they should be thinking about.
so basically, I was in a job where it was just sucking all of the energy and all of the time out of me, and I was like, I really want to be doing the wedding things full time. I want to be able to put my heart and soul in it.
Yeah.
So if you are in that kind of job and you want to escape, I totally get it. To anyone that's watching, I realize that's not you. But if you're in that kind of mental state, I completely understand. I quit my job without having any clients or bookings or savings, which is what I'm saying about learning from my mistakes.
Yeah.
If I could go back, I would probably have tried to either stick out at the job I was in for like 6 months or something, just so I could get more into my savings. Maybe pay off some of my debts before I become freelance. But definitely kind of get into a flow of things during your evenings, weekends, and days off where you can schedule things using automation tools. Digital tools are so helpful, and that has saved me a lot of time. So, for example, when I'm doing social posts, I have been slightly neglecting it recently because I've been doing a lot of client work, but using Meta Business Suite to schedule on Instagram and Facebook. You can even schedule your stories on there now, which has been really
Yeah, I saw
helpful.
that
To
recently.
boost Pinterest, I've been using Tailwind, so I'm getting some traction on there. And then I use something called Later for my Pinterest, because initially I was using that for Instagram, and I was like, well, may as well use Meta's one, and I'll use that for LinkedIn, and then kind of play around with creating trackers like you use for the magnetic marketing. That kind of tracker is really helpful. Or I've got like Notion and Trello and all sorts of other things that I've got in the background. But yeah, the more automation and digital tools you can kind of use to save time, the better, especially if you're doing a full-time job at the same time, because it does take a lot out of you.
And Rachel, you've been part of our inner circle, the next level, for quite a while. I know you well.
Yeah.
If there are wedding pros listening to our conversation, they've been maybe kind of looking from the outside, going, "Oh, what's going on in there?" What would you say to them if they're thinking about coming on and joining us?
I would definitely say if it's in your budget, just go for it. Just go for it. It's amazing. The people inside, the training, the block and tackle is amazing, especially for anyone who, like myself, is either diagnosed or potentially neurospicy, neurodivergent. Block and tackle is basically body doubling, which is a technique that the neurodivergent community thrives on. And the fact that you have that so regularly, I was there. Like anytime I had availability, I was like, right, I'm doing it. I need this accountability on Zoom. And also the community calls that have come in recently, the last few months, they've been so good to build network. I've got people all over the globe now. Like I'm based in London and I've got contacts in America, in Germany, and all of the places. Like it's amazing.
Yeah,
But yeah, would
amazing.
100% recommend it.
And Rachel, I know that you've said to us already during this conversation that you're super open to your network and connecting with more people. So if they're listening and they're like, I'd really like to connect with Rachel, I'm in the wedding industry. Where can they find you? And are you open to them, sending you a DM, or where can they find you and what's your handle?
So I'm open to connecting in whatever platform. I've tried to kind of be visible in as many different places as possible. Most often I'm on Instagram, so my handle is at Celebrate with Rachel Louise, just all one word, no underscores or dots or anything. I'm the same on Facebook. TikTok, it wouldn't let me have the last few digits, so it's Celebrate with Rachel Lou, which I don't like. And then Pinterest, I think I had to put a UK at the end.
So
But yeah,
Instagram is the best platform to find you on. Celebrate with Rachel Louise, right?
yeah,
Yeah, perfect. So, guys, if you're listening to this conversation, you're keen to connect with Rachel, then go find her on Instagram, shoot her a DM, let her know that you heard this conversation. As you heard, she loves building her community. Rachel, thanks so much for your time. I've really enjoyed our conversation. My cheeks are hurting from laughing, honestly.
I love it.